I go by the name of Mr. Lattice, and I'm here with the homie Casiano.
Yo.
Just let the people know where you from and what is it that you do.
I am originally born and raised from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, Elias. I work, this is my 9th year working at a high school, so I work with the youth. I'm an educator, I'm an influencer, I'm a dean, I coach basketball. Many hats, many hats.
How long have you been a dean and working with kids?
I've been working with New Design High School for the last 9 years, and working with kids in total of 11 years. 11 years.
What made you get into that?
Good question. What motivated me to work with youth initially was because of my high school journey, but because in both high schools that I went to before New Design, I experienced bullying. I've experienced bullying for a good time of my life. Safe to say even into like middle school. So what made me want to work with youth was like I always felt like every child has a story. Every child's story is important. Belonging or trying to find a sense of belonging in spaces is tough for kids. So I wanted to make sure that if it was that when I worked with kids, I wanted to make sure that everyone was treated equally, whatever your choice of life may be or your decision. I wanted to make sure that everyone was, united.
Is that what helps the bonding between you and the kids? Because I notice you have like a different bonding with them where they look at you like an older brother, but they still respect you as like, that's my dean.
Yeah. I do have a unique connection with my students to the point that I've even had students, like you just said, call me brother, call me cousin. One thing that's been so impactful for me just this year alone, one of my students who I counseled since 9th grade all the way to his senior year calls me dad, and a little bit about himself is like his background. He comes from a traditional Caribbean family in which a person who identifies as I identify would be considered someone negative in their life or someone that has no purpose, no strength, no power. And having that young man, so I gotta take a second because it gets a little emotional for me, but having him just call me dad in the times that we've been together through these 4 years has really left a mark for me. And I think that was the mark that I initially wanted when I first got into this job, was being able to influence those, but also be influenced by the students that I work with.
What challenges do you feel the youth of today face that you didn't have to face when you was growing up? Or do you see some similarities?
I still see the similarity of acceptance, because I feel like as I look back now at some of the actions that I chose to do in high school, whether it was cutting, whether it was trying whatever I wanted to try for the first time, right? Whether it was smoking or drinking, it was because I wanted to feel accepted. I wanted to be a part of something. I wanted to be with those that would, I don't know, just whether I considered them family or I considered them to just be just friends, but I just wanted to be a part of something. So I think that one thing that our youth struggles with still this day is acceptance. And one thing that I realized that now that I didn't realize back then, that we all share a common issue, is being okay with being smart, or being okay with being educated, or being okay with, because I'm a kid from the hood, I can get straight A's and not be turned down by the people from my hood being like, oh, he's into school, he's all that shit, So I think that part of being okay to be educated and to know about the world.
What's the best advice you received as a teen, and does it still live with you to this day?
There's so many, but I think one that resonated with me still to this day is, and it'd be cheesy, but make good choices. I think that when I hear that, you always think of the choices that other people make, or at least my interpretation of it, right? It's like you hear people say, oh, make the choices. And it's like, okay, but which choice is good? And then you sit back and you reflect and you realize, like, the choice that's best for me. Like, whether that is, like, if I'm okay with making this decision, then I need to stick with that decision and, like, own it.
What's the hardest part about what you do and the best part about what you do?
The hardest part is wanting to do more. And when I say more, being like, for example, like the days that I leave here and there's issues that haven't been resolved, or I feel like issues that are going to go on at home, I can't help but feeling like, damn, I'm not done. Because I feel like, yes, they got my point, but they're, as very young, right? And I learned this through like some of the books I read, from A New Earth to The Four Agreements. We've been conditioned when we were young for a very long time. Conditioned to feel, conditioned to understand, conditioned to even respond to things. And I think that once we start breaking those conditions that we've learned, then we can really truly start breaking cycles. So when I think of that, like what I've read and what I want to apply, there's so many cycles that we need to break that I feel like I can't do in an 8-hour day. Or I can't do in like a 4-year span. There's so much more. There's so much deep embedded issues that we face. Minorities, people that have issues with their sexual identity, people who are just trying to just be accepted. There's so many things that it's not the start. You know, so much more work to do.
What's the best part?
The best part. I feel like the youth keeps me alive, in every single aspect of the word. I feel like just being able to say what's up to my kids in the morning is like the best part. You know what I'm saying? Just breaking them off because they come off the, you know what I'm saying? New York, you're like, ugh, I'm on the train, I'm over it. Okay. When you get here, this is your home. Like, what's up? How you feeling? Like, you had breakfast this morning? Like, BLT, bacon, egg, and cheese? What you eat for lunch? Like, getting them up, like, that is the best part of my day. And then seeing them, aside from that, but seeing them just be learning new things about themselves. Like, just new understandings and new fucking, like, moments of, like, yo, I'm enlightened by my action.
Is there anything that you overcame or bounced back from that you feel can help out those who are watching this right now?
One thing that I came back and bounced back so heavy from was confidence and feeling accepted. I feel like with my story, as everyone else that has a story, I've had to really find myself. And I'm still finding myself. I haven't found it. Like, this is not just Casiano yet, because there's so many more evolutionary stages that I need to go through. But I think that one thing that I was able to persevere and like really bounce back was accepting myself for who I am and being okay with that.
So I noticed you got the Lower East Side Community Award. Talk to us about that. Like, what exactly was it for, and how did it feel receiving that?
Oh my God! So the Lower East Side Community Hero Award was awarded to the unsung heroes of the neighborhood who do work in our community that is meaningful, it's impactful, that creates change, and that also sticks with the idea of what the Lower East Side truly is about, which is family and uniting everyone together. So the Lower East Side Community Hero Award is for that type of individuals. You have to be nominated for the award, so like you have to be nominated by someone, and then there's like a committee that looks at all the stuff that you've done, or at least from what the person who's nominated you is turning in. So they literally, when I was nominated, I got the email that was like, you've been nominated for Lower East Side Community Hero Award. Would you like to accept this award? How would you accept this award? Would you be down to come down to the celebration? When I got the email, Josh, like, I cried. And even like, still to this day, like, I don't want to do this right now, man. Like, It meant the world to me because I felt for a very long time not being accepted by my community. And like that's the realest thing that I could say. Like you feel me? Like I felt like I wasn't accepted because of who I was, or because of my identity. I felt like I really had no place, or if there was a place, it was just too far for me to like obtain or even to get there. And when I got this award, and being in a room full of like the people obviously that love me and would support me, but also the other people that do work here, like there's this man named Jose Cuevas who's doing senior citizen work, and he's been doing that since he migrated to the Lower East Side. So like, and he works over at Manny Cancer Center, which is now which has been Edgy's Educational Alliance. But being in a room like that with other people and hearing their story, like it just drove me like with this flame that I'm like, oh my God, not only am I accepted in my community, but also there's other people out here that like are with this type of work. But not work because it's like we have to, like, oh, I gotta get this check. It's because I want to. I wake up every morning being like, coming from the heart, like, you owe me nothing. I did it out of love. You feel me? Like,